Yo guys, I'm not sure how long this video is going to be up. It might disconnect, so I'm probably going to have to record because my internet is so shit at the school I cannot record videos. But we have Better Call Saul, Season 4, Episode 4, Worst Comes to Worst again. Let's just record the episode and we'll be just fine. Better Call Saul, we're going to get to the plot, we're going to get to the critical reception. I don't know what's wrong with my internet lately. Hopefully it can hold up today. Maybe it was just late last night, I'm not sure. But the opening, in a flashback, Mike Ehrmantraut pours concrete for a carport and allows his young son, Matty, to write his name in it. I didn't even realize that was his son at first. Wow, that's kind of crazy. They showed Matty in the show as a kid. Mike is revealed to be discussing Matty at a group therapy session with Stacey Ehrmantraut and ends by saying, "You wanted me to talk? I talked." Very badass. Him, talking about how the guy was lying about his wife. It was kind of savage of Mike. I think it was hilarious. But yeah, let's get to the main story. Jimmy McGill is offered a manager's position at a cellular phone store. Again, he is suspended for a year, so he kind of has to hold himself over with a job to pay for their house. And they don't have an office anymore because they couldn't afford that, so they need to at least be able to afford their house. And that's what he's doing. He's getting a job for that. He initially declines, but when Kim Wexler suggests he see a therapist, he accepts, because he'd rather have a job than go to therapy. I think we all would rather have a job than go to therapy. Yeah. The store sees little traffic, and Jimmy becomes bored, obviously. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't want a store to be busy. I mean, it's free money. I guess that store would probably close down if they didn't have enough business, but free money, man. I'd be sitting there on my phone the whole time. I guess they didn't have, cellular devices. They just had ones you called and messaged people on. Ira pays Jimmy his share from the sale of the stolen Hummel figurine and offers to steal again. So Saul might have just found himself, we'll just keep calling him Jimmy. Jimmy might have found himself a henchman of sorts that can go out and do these jobs for him. And he hasn't really had someone like that since Mike, and Mike has been declining stuff, so he's kind of needed a new guy to do this. So that's kind of interesting. Ira says he uses a new phone for every job, so the best way to reach him is through Dr. Caldera, just so he can keep himself on the down low. You know, Dr. Caldera is obviously the veterinarian that was giving jobs to Mike and stuff, and now he has Ira for the job. He pretty much hires everyone for these jobs. Jimmy is inspired to resell pay-as-you-go phones on the street. So he's trying to pull a scam out of a job. I think that's why he wanted to get the job, not just to get paid for his hours, but obviously to scam people as well. It's not slipping Jimmy without this. Kim spends the day in Judge Munsinger's courtroom, kind of observing, looking around, trying to take some notes for future cases, stuff like that, seeing how attorneys do things. And yeah, it's really interesting. During a recess, he warns her that if he sees her again, he will assign her pro bono work, which, yeah, she's pretty much off the clock visiting the courtroom, so I understand why he would want to do that. So, yeah, Kim is kind of a savage in this episode, I'm not going to lie. When Munsinger returns to the bench, Kim is still there, obviously not fucking intimidated at all by Judge Munsinger. And I don't think we really got a lot out of Munsinger in this show, so I guess that's cool that he's getting some screen time here. I don't know how long this episode is. I don't think it's going to be that long. I'm kind of just talking over the plot. There's not a whole lot to discuss. Things just kind of happen. Yeah. As part of covering up the fake attack on Nacho Varga and Arturo Colon, Victor sells the Salamancas portion of the drugs to the Espinosa gang. Yeah, to make it look like they stole from them. After Nacho tips them off, the cousins raid the Espinosas, killing most of them and recovering the drugs, then returning to Mexico to avoid the police. So yeah, they kind of have to lay low every time they do these big crimes. I think they've been doing them quite often, I would assume. I mean, it's the damn Salamancas, some of the most ruthless characters in this entire series, in this Breaking Bad universe for that matter. So they pretty much killed people for no reason. I mean, they paid for the drugs too. It's kind of fucking savage that they got them to do that, because they're pretty much stealing money. Nacho recognizes that Gus Fring can now expand his drug territory, but does not yet see the full scope of Gus's plan. I mean, trust me, Gus has a fucking plan. I can't wait to see it unfold. I can't wait for the super lab to develop with Gail Bedecker, because we've been introduced to him in the series. It's going to be a great fucking time. That was one of the best storylines of the whole Breaking Bad series, was the super lab. that was awesome. Nacho convinces his father to let him stay with him while he recovers from his wounds. I mean, obviously, as a father, his dad sees him and he's like, oh my goodness, son, what did they do to you? You need to leave this group or else I'm kicking you out of the house. And Nacho needs to just lay away for a while and kind of relax. Yeah. Mike tells Anita that Henry, another member of their support group, is lying about his past, falsely claiming to have a wife who died. He was never married. You can look him up in the paper. I mean, wow, Mike's something else, really. I really like that he did that. He's calling someone out for being fake, trying to get some sympathy out of people, just being a charity cause, pretty much. I don't know, like a social experiment. I don't know. It's kind of weird. This guy portrays weird behavior at the support groups and lies about himself. I don't know why you would lie about that. At the next meeting, which was shown in the opening, Stacy says she was able to get through most of the day without thinking of Matt because causing Mike to confront Henry is like a perfect talking point for Mike to talk to Henry about him lying about everything. Having been exposed, Henry wordlessly leaves. Now, obviously, you get mad at Mike, but since the guy left, as the support group leader, that this guy was lying the whole time to get everyone's attention and, get their sympathy. Kind of a pick-me guy. Mike then condemns the group for being so self-absorbed they were unable to see through Henry's falsehoods. After performing another Madrigal site inspection, Mike meets with Gus, who feigns anger that Mike did not tell him Nacho intended to kill Hector Salamanca. I mean, you should have kind of known this all along. Hector, I don't know. It is kind of weird. I mean, Mike's kind of put at gunpoint and on the hot seat here. Mike points out that he previously promised only not to kill Hector himself. He didn't want to be a fucking bodyguard for him. Damn. Mike guesses Gus has another motive for the meeting and asks for details about the job Gus wants to be done. I mean, Mike knows what the hell he's talking about. He can see through the blurred lines here and he knows exactly what Gus's intentions of this meeting were. And now it's just a talking point to get to the point that Gus wanted. Talk received critical acclaim. Jonathan Bake's performance as Mike in the episode was great. I mean, Mike always does good in this series, but this episode in particular was seen as pretty good by other people. 100% Rotten Tomatoes, 7.93 out of 10. Ugly Feelings loom large in Talk, an installment that manages to lay foundations for future episodes without losing its dramatic own hold. I don't really have much to say. I kind of got to get to my This Week in the NFL video, but this is a really good episode, I think. A lot of cool storylines occurred. Gus giving another job to Mike at the end is fantastic, and we're going to see what that job is in the next episode. The Salamanca's going on an absolute bloody rampage. I mean, how can we not talk about that? For honestly no reason. I mean, the Espinosas were really innocent, and then all of a sudden they just bloodshed everywhere. I mean, Salamancas are ruthless. The shots where he's walking out with his bloody suit, and he's stepping over the bullets and broken glass with his skull toe boots. That's just so badass. And the Salamancas, you can hate them, but they're ruthless characters, and it's something we need in this series. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, it has been GZTV. I'm not doing a Dahmer review today. I'm probably not going to watch a Dahmer till tonight. Because we had Monday Night Football. When we have night football, and I had to wake up early as well, that's another factor. Sometimes when we watch night football, I can actually watch an episode of Dahmer, but we have 7, 8, 9, and 10 episodes to get through. We should finish that by the end of the week.